The ones that succeed always have a dedicated sleep champion.
Mm.
And I don't think this should come as any surprise to anybody. If I go into a practice and I say, hey, you need to be screening your patients or talking to your patients, almost every single person there is going to say, I don't have time. I'm overburdened. The sleep hygienist, the dental hygienist is doing 500 million things already.
Hey everybody, my name is David Rice. I'm the chief editor here at DentistryIQ and back for another episode of Gloves Off, a gentle topic today, an important topic today with a really great friend and colleague.
Hi, I'm Teresa Power DeNike. I'm board certified in clinical sleep health with an expertise in sleep apnea.
I love it. An important topic that just seems to be like scaling in dental practices everywhere. I feel like we've woken up, pun intended, to what we really need to be doing and helping our patients get as healthy as can be. So you and I have had conversations offline about practices that succeed in integration and practices that don't. And I know you've got a really strong sense of process. So what's like a really important factor if I want to integrate treating sleep apnea in my practice today?
That is a perfect question. As far as what I've seen, and I've worked with hundreds of dental offices who try to do sleep and some that actually succeed in doing sleep, the ones that succeed always have a dedicated sleep champion. And I don't think this should come as any surprise to anybody. If I go into a practice and I say, hey, you need to be screening your patients or talking to your patients, almost every single person there is going to say, I don't have time. I'm overburdened. The dental hygienist is doing 500 million things already. The dentist doesn't have a lot of time. So to try to add one more thing in, although we can make it super simple, it does always seem overwhelming at first. And then, as far as actually treating patients, anybody who has treated patients knows that physically it's not really a lot of work. But it's everything else in between. It's talking to the patient, it's screening, it's answering their questions and submitting the documentation. And so if you don't have somebody dedicated to that, you're really just going to sort of like tinker and do maybe one or two a month or every now and then. And if you're really serious about treating, it's just not sustainable if you don't have a champion.
I love that. And I think, there's two ways to look at this. So I can feel like wheels spinning in some dentists and team members' brains but we have this team shortage thing. So how do we do that? But I kind of look at it from the other side and say, boy, this person is probably a highly engaged team member, or maybe somebody who's in your practice who's a little bit disengaged right now and just needs something to latch onto and own and take to the next level. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And it can definitely hold people back in that way too. Like, sure, I believe in credentialing. I have my own credential to be a sleep coach that works with physicians and dentists, but it can be your assistant. It can be maybe someone who's newer to the practice, or maybe they've been there for a while. I've seen some really, really awesome practices hire nurses. They are not in dentistry at all. They're just doing sleep. And of course, they learn a little bit about dentistry, but it just needs to be somebody who is in it 100%. And that really can be anybody.
Okay, so that really opened my eyes right there. So people are bringing in nurses, so outside of dentistry and pulling people in. I love that as an opportunity because I know we think in dentistry like our world is awful, but we're not the only profession who has people who maybe aren't entirely happy with where they are, and nurses are a really great pool of professionals we can draw from. That's cool.
Nurses,
okay, so
sleep techs. I mean, all of the coaches that we hire are 90% of the sleep coaches that we hire are sleep technologists. They know a lot about sleep. They know a lot about treatment options, but they also are used to talking to patients. And once you start treating sleep apnea patients, you realize they have the same questions over and over again. So again, it really can be sort of anybody.
awesome. Okay, so you mentioned you have a team of people, including sleep techs that you work with. I guess one question, if you don't mind, last question, playing it both ways. If I'm looking for a sleep tech, how do I find one? And if, boy, this is overwhelming for me because I have enough on my plate, is there a way to work with people like you who can help a dental practice with all that process stuff so our life gets to be easy peasy and we do what we do really well, and people like you do what you do well?
Yeah, there definitely is. And there it really, that's where you have to decide how you want to do it. If you are just being realistic with yourself, I actually just spoke to somebody this morning who was like, I got to be honest, like I tried it with my practice. They're not doing it. My team members don't really care about it. I want to do it, but I can't do it on my own. So they would work with somebody like me, and um, we do a lot of the work for your practice. So they're still your patients, but we talk to them, we send them education, we help with the billing process. Now, if you want to take it under your own roof and you want to handle it yourself, which is definitely a great idea, especially for revenue. If you're really going all in and you have your sleep champion, then there are lots of other companies that do training and education. They have different softwares, they have different billing for that. So if you need any of those recommendations, I'm happy to give them to you, or you can just work with us.
Awesome. I love that. So how do people reach out to you if they need your help either way?
Either way, I would say LinkedIn or my website, sleepbetter.nyc. We have contact forms and buttons and emails, and you can reach me multiple different ways. But if you go to the website, all of that will be there.
Awesome, Teresa. I really appreciate it. Sleep champions, very important. Definitely having an all-in dedicated person is the way to go.
I agree.